we weren't poor,
Yeah.
but I was aware that we didn't have money from a very early age. And I recognized bills weren't getting paid, but we did have extra vegetables.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds Podcast, brought to you by Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and Warrior Injury Law. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
We're coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. So Joe, for people tuning in for the first time, discovered our podcast, how do we get started?
Sure. First started out as a Facebook group page. Purpose was just for businesses to communicate inside of a forum together, talk, communicate, ask questions, share tips, kind of help one another out in business. Because we're a marketing agency, we get asked a lot of questions outside of just marketing. So what better way than to have entrepreneurs themselves onto the podcast to talk about all topics related to being in business.
Right. And if there's a topic that we haven't talked about, we're open to hearing about it.
Yeah.
But today's topic and guest kind of fits along our lines with what's going on now, AI, stuff that you put on the web. Can you introduce our guest, please, Joe?
Well, I actually met Sarah through a past guest we had, Linnea Carver. She had her on talking about content for, I think more specifically for real estate agents.
Correct.
Right. But I just gained that, well, there's content is content, and what you write for or how you write for real estate agents could be taken over to any industry. So I thought, what a great way to have you on. Talk about content writing, debunk some of the myths about how to use AI in content writing. Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, can you just do us a favor and introduce yourself and tell our audience how you got started?
Hi. Yeah, so I would say the way that I got started, at least in the real estate content marketing industry, is I actually worked in the real estate industry first for a few years, worked for an agent, did their marketing, all that kind of stuff, property management, where the real drama is. Inside the title office. Invaluable insights into the way lenders, title companies, and agents really operate and think about one another.
Yeah. So how the sausage gets made for that space.
Sausage really gets made. And that really gave me new depth of knowledge into contracts and how things can fall apart when they feel super guaranteed,
right,
and all of that kind of stuff. So as I was sitting there in the title office, growing very, very sick from burnout, regularly hospitalized, I started to feel overwhelmed by the amount of problems swirling that I was hearing every day that no one was talking about solving anywhere. And I've been a lifelong writer. I was very lucky to grow up in a small town in upstate New York where a lot of the teachers are retired Ivy League professors.
Oh, wow.
And they fostered writing in me from the time I was like 6 years old, would pull me out of a class, stick me in a room to write.
Yeah.
And so I've been very, very lucky with that. And when I jumped onto the scene as a real estate content writer in 2016, no one was doing it.
Yeah, right.
So I was pretty immediately booked out. I had my first several $1,000 client literally a few hours after putting up my first Wix website out of Seattle, actually.
So right here.
Yeah, they know tech here. So and that's why I'm here, actually. I'm so excited that I'm finally here where a lot of my first clients and podcast interviews and all that kind of stuff really originated.
Awesome. So we're excited to get to know you. But before that, this is not officially a day drinking episode, but we like to find excuses to drink. Since it is fall. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers.
This is a
Cheers.
A cinnamon caramelized pineapple bourbon mule with bourbon, lime juice, a little bit of pineapple juice, and Rachel Ginger Beer's caramelized pineapple ginger beer. So it's a mule.
Yeah.
Cheers. Fall with a cinnamon stick. So
Looks beautiful. I would have drank it. What kind of bourbon is it?
it is actually First Call bourbon. It's a bourbon Joe gifted me. So It's about 105 proof bourbon, but you can't taste 105 proof.
No, it's a mystery.
So really delicious and sweet. I know you're a dessert guy.
Yeah.
So I made it for his palate too. But let's get to know you.
Okay.
First question, Joe.
What are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
This is where I'm lucky too. So, at least on my father's side, my mom's adopted, but on my father's side, the Laytons came over from Amsterdam in the 1600s and became farmers in upstate New York immediately and entrepreneurs and craftsmen.
You have
And
a long history. Trace back.
Absolutely,
like, that's pretty cool.
absolutely. Yeah, they fought in every single American conflict all the way up through my father in Vietnam. So, yeah, there's a lot of history there, and the Hudson Valley too is so rich in history. But I was able to learn firsthand from my father's parents' integrity in craftsmanship and putting and keeping the customer at the heart of everything and how important that really is. And then on my mother's side, her father was an insurance broker in Oneonta, New York. And when he was first starting out and had nothing, one of his first clients was a restaurant called Brooks Barbecue Chicken, which is now famous up there. But right after he signed them, it burnt to the ground.
Oh, wow.
And my grandfather just about broke himself rebuilding it. But that was his word, and he believed very firmly in the power of his word. So he did rebuild that business with them, and it did go on to be really famous. And my grandfather was very successful as a result as well. So that was huge for me, to not compromise on integrity, quality, craftsmanship.
From an early age.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and then generational too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was really, and it was actually all instilled in me by my late sister, who was my hero and definitely my first mentor in entrepreneurship. We were, I grew up in the 90s we weren't poor, but I was aware that we didn't have money from a very early age. So at the age of 4, we had gardens outside, and that's how we ate. And I recognized bills weren't getting paid, but we did have extra vegetables. So I asked my sister if we could go to the local market and get containers so that I could sell the vegetables.
Yeah.
And she was so excited that I had connected those dots.
Right.
She took me to the store and asked for the manager and had me set up a vegetable stand, basically like a lemonade stand.
Right.
And I made enough money in that first summer at 4 years old to, when I was 16, take her and my other sister to Disney World.
Wow.
So you've had a history of entrepreneurship at a very early age.
Yeah.
Generationally. So tell our audience, what's the best piece of advice that you've been given then in your long entrepreneurial career? What's stuck to you?
It's really tough. Stephanie taught me the power of like documentation and journaling. She was a nurse, so that was very deep in her. And when I worked in geriatric healthcare for a while in my early 20s, I did learn how important documentation is. But in business owners and operators vastly underestimate the power of having handwritten records of things that happened on this date a year ago in your business, or people that you spoke to that you have forgotten about, or all of these things, and just keeping track of what's happening and what are the meaningful takeaways, not just for yourself, but perhaps for your audience and your clientele.
Right.
Talk about time saving for free.
I mean, because if people do everything digitally, notes, and something happens, they lose it all.
Right.
Whereas if I'm a handwriter. I take notes for all my clients' calls, handwritten, and
Me too.
I keep them for like a year or two before I toss them. So
You're better than I have years. I have probably 5 or 6 years of handwritten.
It's like tax records then.
I'm terrible that way. Yeah. And people underestimate, even in content writing, right? Even if you're going to take it to the screen later, I always recommend that you start pen to paper. This is how our brain actually cognitively functions. This is how you were taught.
Right.
And the language that will flow from you will be far more natural and conversational, human, genuine, and vulnerable, therefore valuable, than anything that you produce when you sit down to screen.
So not asking a prompt. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
Maybe.
Foreshadowing, to borrow a literary term. Our last question, Joe.
Why is marketing important?
So when you asked this, I journaled. And what came up for me is that going back to what my grandparents instilled in me, I honestly have no interest in selling stuff to make money. What I do thrive on is making a meaningful difference. And so for me, when I look at my job in marketing, I think it's actually more a job of building a bridge between people with urgent and important problems that need solving and the most appropriate solutions for them.
Right.
And without marketing, people would be wandering around everyday things that we are not even thinking about because it's a minor issue solved in 2 seconds would be a big problem that could be isolating.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's, for me, I think that's why marketing is really important.
Okay.
All right. So the topic today of copywriting, I'll have you set the table, Joe. So
I think this is an interesting topic because of AI, right?
Okay.
I would say 3 or 4 years ago, when AI really wasn't as big as it is now.
Sure.
So I like content writing for this topic because of the AI. I'm gonna go back. AI is, everyone thinks that I'm building a website. I can just go to AI. I can use my ChatGPT. I can use Gemini. Whatever tool I want to use,
to be the end all be all.
Correct, and I can give it prompts of, I need to write a website page that is this many words long about this topic, and go, right? And then it pushes out all this content, right? But what consumers don't understand is that AI written content basically is regurgitated information that's already on the internet. So essentially they're plagiarizing content that's already out there on their website. And then eventually Google's going to recognize that you have duplicate content on your website and your website's going to be flagged, right? So this is why the topic is important to me, to have a content writer on the podcast to really talk about the do's and don'ts of content writing, and then just talk about content in general.
Thank you. That's actually, I really appreciate that setup. I hear a slightly different angle than where I thought you were going to go with this. And so that's really cool. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Oh, we talk about Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours. I more than logged my hours from 2016 to 2020. I was essentially holed up in a 1-bedroom apartment, cranking out 10 to 20,000 words of written content a day.
That's crazy.
On the topic of real estate as a ghostwriter.
Because that's tough to do, because you have to write different. You can't write the same content for each person. It all has to be. It all has.
You could write the same topic for 10 different agents, and it has to be all unique.
Has to be fresh angles, fresh perspectives, fresh hyperlocal information for the SEO. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to have some clients that have no idea what good writing is from bad. And so no matter what you hand them, they're going to be like, wow, great, awesome. Yeah. And then you have others that think they know. Right. And it can honestly go a lot of different ways. And that kind of plays into some of what I've seen a little bit with the AI is people at first thought everything it put out sounded brilliant.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to, after a couple years of fatigue from the formulas and some of the phrasing,
it's the same
and
thing.
Everything. Yeah. They're starting to recognize some of that, the differences between what is good writing, what sounds good, and what makes me want to stop what I'm doing and change my actions right now. You know? Yeah.
And now, a message from one of our Ask Valor Masterminds podcast sponsors.
Injured? Call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
So what goes into writing good content?
So I am an SEO nerd, and I love SEO. I've been an organic evergreen girl from the jump, have never played with ads, have never bought ads, know nothing about ads, other than, at least in today's market, the creative informs the ad. So it was the other way around for a long time. Yeah. So in terms of, do's and don'ts, I think I love how excited people do get for SEO when they buy into it. However, they can get so hyper focused on some of the little things that they do abandon all conversational tone and context. It's great to get people to the page, but we got to convert them too. We're trying to have a conversation.
It's not all technical.
We're trying to build brand. We're trying to, you know what I mean? We're trying to get them into different parts of our funnel based on, so, and that is not going to come from generic AI speak, which again, honestly, if you're going to use AI to write your website content, don't have a website. It's not going to get found. There's no point.
Right.
That's a good way of phrasing it, though. I mean, if you're going to rely on AI to create content, you can use it, just not on your website. So nowhere front facing
or blogs, correct?
Nowhere on your blog.
Yep.
No. And I think part of, at least in the real estate industry, but I know this goes into a lot of different industries too. We get stage fright and we get very concerned with how professional or polished people are going to think we look, and that's going to determine something about our value. And so many people that are spinning in frustration and planning and pontificating and visualizing and all of these things would be in such a different financial position right now if they would just get up and film a 5-minute video into their phone ranting about something they're passionate about, and let that convert let AI convert that transcript. And honestly, the transcript itself would do better than anything you would do in just AI. But if you want to maybe go a week later, clean it up, AI is gonna, or the SEO is gonna love that signal.
Your intent and the conversational aspect of your voice note or video note that's the value of it.
It's the value. It's fresh. It's original. And what's going to come out of you naturally, especially when you get yourself wound up about something, if whatever your soapbox topics are, again, the language is just going to be different. It's going to send all kinds of different flags and signals, and they're going to want to crawl you more because it is going to be more engaging.
Is there a different tone between a real estate company or a plumbing company or a law firm company or a health website? Is there different tones that people, so if someone's going to write their own content and they're like, I don't know if I can afford a content writer, so I'm going to start doing it myself. Is there different types of tones per industry?
I think so. I think it depends on, certainly, first and foremost, it always comes back to the client and the client experience, the client's buyer psychology. That's why I spent the last 5 years going very deep into studying behavioral patterns of buyers and things like that. So the tone, if you are looking to build a personal brand, aka reputation. People get like icked out by personal brand. I'm like, that's just your reputation. So don't tell me in the next sentence that word of mouth is your whole business and that you don't care about branding.
That's what they say, but that's not what they think. So.
So, I think it's important that we tailor the tone to what the client needs to hear in that moment. Meet them where they are. It's not about you. And then be yourself.
So you're addressing pain points.
Yeah. And I think the tone is going to be somewhat obvious most of the time. If we're talking about healing cancer, maybe don't be a jerk in your tone. Whereas sometimes you get a very soft me, and then sometimes I get really frustrated, and you're going to get a lot of tough love out of me in terms of what you need to be doing.
How the piece comes out then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think people just spend so much energy talking themselves out of doing the things that they know would be the tipping point because they're self-sabotaging.
So when you write for a client, someone hires you and you're trying to learn them. How's your process of learning that client, that business, that personality that you're going to write on their behalf, essentially? What's that kind of process look like for you? Is it, all right, I'm a plumber today, I'm a dentist tomorrow. I'm going to put on my, dentist hat or, my plumber cap. Talk to me about how you you get ready for specific clients or different clients?
So again, a big part of sort of leveling up for me in the last few years was going deep into Jungian behavioral psychology, and particularly the patterning. I have always done well as a visionary with recognizing patterns and using those to predict, okay, what's going to happen here? And what if we apply these macroeconomics? And, so by going deep into the patterns and archetypes and things like that,
Right.
I quickly started to realize all of these seemingly random variables that would get in people's way or whatever were not so random, that there aren't really that many different people.
Right.
We're all a little, unique. We're ourselves,
right.
but, there are 4 archetypes of women.
Right.
And I put them in a room and that's where you get Sex in the City from, by the way. That's where you get Golden Girls from, is those 4 archetypes. all of them. They're just studies in the 4 archetypes and how they interact with each other. So that made it uncannily, almost uncomfortably easy for me to know what's in a client's head real quick in discovery.
Without them even knowing. You strip it off and you could see, all right, I could probably guess who your customers are before you tell me, but I'm going to have you tell me.
Yep.
You know who you're going to write for,
Yep.
especially in the real estate world with your experience. But dentists, you already know who those people are on the other side.
Right. So that helps. I have, been niched too. So for the most part, the real estate businesses I was covering, there was maybe little nuance, what I mean? But I knew the business inside and out.
Yeah.
So that's also how I was able to write so much content. I knew everything. There was no thinking about it. You know what I mean? I didn't have to research anything other than maybe hyper local when I would do neighborhood profiles or a huge SEO play. So that thank God for AI for that.
Right.
Research. Use AI to research for your writing.
Right.
That saves
Do you use
me.
it to write outlines?
Absolutely, I do. In fact, I'm going to give away my biggest money-making process in writing content. I used to handwrite out all of my outlines. Now, a lot of times I will use AI to start it and then tweak it because, again, I don't want AI's formula and I know better a little bit. But I write an outline and then voice to text and clean it up. And it performs way better. It doesn't matter which client, which market,
Right.
And I've been very lucky to work with some of the most powerful players globally in real estate and be the ghostwriter for some of the CEOs of maybe the top couple brokerages. So
There's only a couple top brokers.
You can process of elimination, figure it out probably. So.
and they may or may not be at those companies anymore.
Yeah,
right.
So I do know a lot of the nuances of how careful we need to be sometimes, but for the most part, I think everyone is being way too careful. It's interest media time.
Right.
Your followers aren't seeing you anymore. Newsflash. So just start it for all the people that have so badly wanted to throw spaghetti at the wall for years. Hallelujah. Here you go. Now's the time. But don't throw spaghetti at the wall for 15 videos and then turn around and tell me that it doesn't work and this interest media thing is a fad and it's just for them. Maybe do it for 400 over 6 months and then let's have a conversation.
Right.
So what type for the audience, what all pieces of content do you help with? Or
all of them.
List them all out.
Yeah, I mean, I have worked on everything from email campaigns to internal email systems for all agents. Courses. I've written CE and MLS stuff. I've written thousands of property descriptions and neighborhood profiles and agent bios, websites, that kind of stuff.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I love when I get to work in world building and creating like immersive thematic memberships on various platforms. I've been lucky enough to do some of that. One of my favorites, about a year ago, we did an Alchemist of the Stars theme membership. That was very, very cool. So I love anytime I get to do things like that when a lot of real estate companies are a little too nervous to step outside their
comfort zones.
Yeah, but I always tell them, look at what the insurance companies are doing in terms of TV commercials. Not that I'm a big proponent of TV commercials, but look at what they're doing in terms of world building and humor and the characters that they're creating and have been for years. In particular, I'm obsessed with the ones that make fun of millennials becoming their parents when they buy a home. Talk about using your data. They know us to a T.
Yeah.
My husband and I, like every couple of months, we're like doing whatever.
Exactly
You're becoming your parents.
We sold the house and bought an RV to be like, and we got out into that, and then they put that camping one out, and I was like,
they got us.
So, but do that.
Yeah.
Whether you're a plumbing guy or be a dirt farmer, you can create characters, you can create worlds, you can create brand and experiences that people want to step away from their screen for. And we need to start thinking less about how does AI get me out of doing a bunch of work or make my work easier? And how does AI free up some of the mundane tasks so that I can go back to being a human with humans who are actually at the center of my business?
78% of ransomware demands start right here in the office. How are you protecting your business internally and externally against cybercrime? Call Fuse Networks, your local Seattle IT experts at 206-701-6040 for a complimentary vulnerability assessment to see where your business risks are and help your company fight cybercrime.
So, a question. So, to our listeners out there, I would say their comfortability with using AI is probably like moderate. I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that's
for the business owner out there that's starting to get comfortable with it, and you've observed this through clients or other businesses. What are one or two things you see a lot of businesses do wrong with trying to use AI for their business, their content? Are there common things that, like, oh, I didn't know that was wrong, like that they're doing maybe that you see?
Yeah, thank you. So this is actually starting to finally come up a little bit more. Certainly, can you use AI to write content offside of your website or blog, for example, inside a digital product, and not get punished for it? Absolutely. That said, the more you use AI to do some of the things that are in your wheelhouse to think for you. Basically, the more that you outsource your thinking to your AI partner, the more cognitive dissonance might start to spark in your brain. And then all of a sudden, you start to develop imposter syndrome around things that were once have always been your wheelhouse. I went through this with writing. I had probably, for the first time in my life, like 2-3 years recently where I didn't think I was capable of writing at all because everyone was using AI. They had bought into the AI language and format, which honestly, sometimes I wonder how much was developed off of the content I published.
Of real people. Yeah.
Because I published a lot of content for 4 or 5 years before ChatGPT went mainstream, And so I'm hearing more and more from clients that are like, it actually, it almost like hyper sped up burnout in a way. Like they all of a sudden are waking up and are completely overwhelmed by doing things that were everyday tasks because they've been outsourcing so much of that muscle and muscle memory to AI without thinking they're being more efficient. And so I think just like anything else, maybe take a detox for a month and see what changes or what maybe shifts.
But that's hard for a lot of business owners if they're stuck in a routine, just to push pause, or you disturb your complacency of you're dependent on something. Because a lot of business owners, they've come to the point now, for the early adopters of AI, I found a way to make my business more efficient this way. And then us as marketers, there's points of it's time to redo a website, create a new page. I got this. And then when we find out what you got, it's AI.
AI wrote everything for you.
Page for you.
Weird how your website tanked, huh?
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll do it on their own, or they'll ask us. And then when we have an opportunity, it's about educating.
Yeah.
There's a responsible way to do it. But it's so as a business owner, when do I raise my hand like I'm at the point I need help? Like with a content writer, with just taking your reliance or dependency. It's almost not like a chemical dependency, because but there's a dependency on trusting. Oh, because it's online, it's good. There's still that mentality.
Right.
Even as a business owner, you could be a responsible parent, adult, but AI is something that it's new. It should be trusted.
Yeah. So, a couple things come up for me. The kids are going to laugh at me because it's going to sound super corny. I'm super corny. I'm a farm girl. Okay. It's always the right thing to do the right thing. That got me far in poker, in terms of making good folds. Are you going to walk away from some pots that maybe could have been yours? Yeah, but it's always the right thing to do the right thing. Holistically, you'll end up with more in the end, right? So that's sort of a philosophy I like to apply to a lot of those things. That being said, in order to keep our customer at the center of everything, is it in their best interest for us to allow ourselves to become dependent on any one thing or person?
Right. Probably not.
Probably not. And so rather than maybe pontificate on how I can facilitate that for you, maybe we need to stop with the excuse and look at, okay, great, my business has been more efficient.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm glad you made more money, saved money, blah, blah, blah. Let's take some of it, take a step back, and reevaluate what do things look like moving forward. Complacency is the biggest cancer in your business.
Right.
Every time. Yeah.
Okay. So for people who for the audience who's watching today, they're like, I want to connect with Sarah. I think I'm at that point where I don't want to do this myself. She sounds like she's a professional. How do they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch over on the website fairly easily, bestrealestatewriter.com. It's even got a little chat box that comes right to my phone. So I am frequently talking with clients and customers and prospects. In addition to my service menu, I drop slowly. It will be a little faster next year now that I'm getting fully back into business. But I also drop products that replace and replicate all of my services so that no one needs me ever.
Right.
Okay.
Last question. So in 5 to 10 years, where do you see your business at in the future?
Ooh. So, I actually see myself as like the female next coming of Walt Disney. And long term, I am looking to build out something similar. So in 10 years, I hope to be stepping further into creative director roles, experiential event design, things like that. I have been operating as a fractional chief marketing officer, chief content officer for companies for almost 10 years, and just not calling it that.
Yes.
Right. But you have the resume to support that.
Yeah, they came out with that term not too long ago, and I was like, well, isn't that cute?
Yeah. Been there.
Where's my back 8 figures in fractional pay? But that's fine. I put in the hours and I've got it. And so, yeah, I would love to be able to have immersive events that connect people around things that are really unexpected. Like imagine a Candyland themed real estate event.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or something like that. So I think that hopefully we can soon start cutting through the noise and stop relying on everyone else to be the primary communicator with our audience. It's a privilege that they showed up. Maybe stop looking at that metric as 200 impressions and picture yourself in a room with 200 people.
Yeah.
Those people just took a moment out of the only life they have to read
spend with you.
to read what you have to say, and you outsourced it to AI. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Sit down and write your copy, or get someone that cares enough about your audience to do it from a heartfelt place
Right.
that will make a meaningful difference and not to make a sale.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome
Love
stuff. But yeah, thanks for doing that. What's the website again?
bestrealestatewriter.com.
All right, all one word, correct?
Yeah, old
Okay.
SEO play.
All right, there you go. So on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and Warrior Injury Law, my name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. Thank you for joining us
Thank
in
you.
studio, and cheers, everyone. Take care.
Cheers.
All right.